They need no cause. They'll talk in any case. Madam, this world would be a joyless place if, fearing what malicious tongues might say, we locked our doors and turned our friends away. And even if one did so dreary a thing, do you think those tongues would cease their chattering? One can't fight slander. It's a losing battle. Let us instead ignore their tittle-tattle. Let's strive to live by conscience, clear decrees, and let the gossips gossip as they please. That girl was laughing in your face. And though I've no wish to offend you, even so I'm bound to say that she had some excuse. How can you possibly be such a goose? Are you so dazed by this man's hocus-pocus that all the world, save him, is out of focus? You've given him clothing, shelter, food, and care. Why must you also...
Brother, stop right there. You do not know the man of whom you speak.
I grant you that, but my judgment's not so weak that I can't tell by his effect on others.
When you meet him, you two will be like brothers.
Good God, man. Have you lost your common sense? Or is this all some joke at my expense? How can you stand there in all sobriety?
Brother, your language savors of impiety. Too much free thinking's made your faith unsteady, and as I've warned you many times already, 'twill get you into trouble before you're through.
So I've been told before, by dupes like you. Being blind, you'd have all others blind as well. The clear-eyed man you call an infidel, and he who sees through humbug and pretense is charged by you with want of reverence. Oh, spare me your warnings, brother. I have no fear of speaking out, for you in heaven to hear against affected zeal and pious knavery. There's true and false in piety, as in bravery. Cannot sincerity and cunning heart, reality and semblance be told apart? Are scarecrows just like men? And do you hold that a false coin is just as good as gold? Brother, man's a strangely fashioned creature who seldom is content to follow nature, but recklessly pursues his inclination beyond the narrow bounds of moderation, and often by transgressing reason's laws perverts a lofty aim or noble cause. A passing observation, but it applies.
I see, dear brother.
Yes, all the town's discussing it, and truly their comments do not flatter you unduly. I'm glad we've met, sir, and I'll give my view of this sad matter in a word or two. As for who's guilty, that I shan't discuss. Let's say it was Demise who caused the fuss. Assuming, then, that you've been ill-used by young Demise and groundlessly accused, ought not a Christian to forgive? And ought he not to stifle every vengeful thought? Should you stand by and watch a father make his only son an exile for your sake? No, sacrifice your wrath to God above and help Demise regain his father's love.
Alas, for my part, I should take great joy in doing so. I've nothing against the boy. I pardon all. I harbor no resentment. To serve him would afford me great contentment. But heaven's interest will not have it so. If he comes back, I should have to go. After his conduct so extreme, so vicious, our further intercourse would look suspicious. God knows what people would think. Why, they'd describe my goodness to him as a sort of bribe. They'd say that out of guilt, I made pretense of loving kindness and benevolence. That fearing my accuser's tongue, I strove to buy his silence with a show of love.
Your reasoning is badly warped and stretched. And these excuses, sir, are most far-fetched. Why put yourself in charge of heaven's cause? Does heaven need our help to enforce its laws? Leave vengeance to the Lord, sir. While we live, our duty is not to punish, but forgive.
Again, sir, let me say that I've forgiven Demise and thus obeyed the laws of heaven. But I'm not commanded by the Bible to live with one who smears my name with libel.
Were you commanded, sir, to indulge the whim of poor Orgon, and to encourage him in suddenly transferring to your name A large estate to which you have no claim? It looks to me as if you're out on a limb. Trusting him with that box and offering him that deed of gift were actions of a kind which scarcely indicate a prudent mind. With two such weapons, he has the upper hand. And since you're vulnerable as matters stand, you erred once more in bringing him to bay. You should have acted in some subtler way.
Just think of it. Behind that fervent face, a heart so wicked and a soul so base. I took him in, a hungry beggar, and then... My God, I'm through with pious men. Henceforth, I'll hate the whole false brotherhood and persecute them worse than Satan.
Now, there you go, extravagant as ever. Why can you not be rational? You never manage to take the middle course, it seems, but jump instead between absurd extremes. Come, just because one rascal made you swallow a show of zeal which turned out to be hollow, shall you conclude that all men are deceivers, and that today there are no true believers? Let atheists make that foolish inference. Learn to distinguish virtue from pretense. Be cautious in bestowing admiration and cultivate a sober moderation. Don't humor fraud, but also don't disperse true piety. The latter fault is worse, and it is best to err, if err one must, as you have done, upon the side of trust. If it is true that you are animated by pure and loyal zeal, as you have stated, why was this zeal not roused until you'd sought to make Ogul a cuckold and been caught? Why weren't you moved to give your evidence until your outraged host had driven you hence? I shan't say that the gift of all his treasure ought to have damped your zeal in any measure. But if he is a traitor, as you declare, how could you condescend to be his heir?
Sir, spare me all this clamor. It is growing shrill. Please, carry out your orders, if you will.
Do you see, brother, please? Let's not descend to such indignities. Leave the poor wretch to his unhappy fate. And don't say anything to aggravate his present woes, but rather hope that he will soon embrace an honest piety and mend his ways, and by a true repentance move our just king to moderate his sentence. Meanwhile, go kneel before your sovereign's throne and thank him for the mercies he has shown.
Well said. We'll go at once and gladly kneeling express the gratitude which all are feeling.